All right, let's talk about Tua, who had a weird day against the Raiders. Some of it was fantastic, some of it wasn't. And there still are some potential, misfires going on with Miami, but also some really good plays, sometimes both in the same play. Like this play is a kind of a good example of both the good and the bad, where, I would say, generally speaking, this is good, although in this specific play, it was not. So what's going to happen is what they want to do, it's a 3rd down and 3, and you see the concept they want to hit, right? Just kind of this pick play towards the outside of the field. That's where you're going for here. Tua is going to take the snap. He looks in that direction and doesn't love what he sees. And it's a bit of a tough play. He could maybe consider making it, but he decides he doesn't want to make this throw, especially one, if you look over the middle, there's a window for him to run. So for me, I would say this is good. I would say this is actively good stuff from Tua. Tua's going to step up in the pocket. He moves very well, but he ends up losing the football, and that originally was ruled down, but got overturned and was ruled a fumble, gave the Raiders 3 points on that play, which you just don't want to have happen. Turnovers are a real issue, and if you lose a turnover battle, you're not going to win a ton of games. You're certainly not going to beat good teams. You might be able to beat the Raiders if you lose a turnover battle, although they won a turnover battle, but you might be able to win a game like that against the Raiders, even if you lose the turnover battle. But you're just making things a lot more difficult on yourself if you're doing that. And, the interception was also another one we can talk about. We'll kind of get those out of the way before we get to the positives. So here's the play concept. It's a zone coverage play, and you have a receiver running a deeper route, another receiver running over the middle. And to be honest, I don't know how much this is actually on Tua's fault. I don't know how much of it is Tua's fault is what I meant to say. That being said, I still do think some, though, because typically the way these routes work is the deep route is usually just designed to get the safety to run further deep. If the safety does not run further deep, then you throw deep, but usually the safety goes further deep, you throw over the middle. That's usually how these plays work. As you see, Tua is going to take the snap. He is going to look down the field. He fires over the middle, or fires down the field, and over the middle was kind of taken away. So I can kind of see what he's doing, but the receiver, you see, he kind of flattens the route out. I'm assuming he was supposed to run further deep, but instead says, let me flatten this route out because there's a window for that to be open. So I kind of understand why Jalen Waddle made that decision. Tua, however, is saying, let me just throw up a jump ball to Jalen Waddle one-on-one, which is also a decision you can kind of understand. To me, this isn't necessarily a one player is right or one player is wrong play. You could legitimately decide to do whichever one you want to do, but you have to be on the same page. You have to know, this isn't a concept that is new. This isn't something that they're just trying out. This is something they've been doing all year. You have to be on the same page here. Because Tua throws it further deep and it ends up getting intercepted. Again, I don't think that's just a missed throw. I think, honestly, on a lot of interceptions, they're usually not missed throws, especially the ones that look horrible, the ones that look like someone was way off. Usually those aren't missed throws, and that's what I think happened there. So, again, just not totally clean. And it feels like this has been the case for the Dolphins for a while, is they look great, but they sometimes aren't perfectly clean in their ways of winning games. But let's talk about why they're still winning so many games. First, let's start off with this play. It's going to be zone coverage, and you have Tyreek Hill running over the middle. Tyreek Hill, good wide receiver. Want to hit him as much as possible, and it is worth mentioning, while the offense kind of stalled a little bit, part of that was they were without Tyreek Hill for a chunk of this game, although he came back in and seemingly is fine. But it's going to be a zone coverage play. Really, this is the kind of play that Miami just can, eat you alive in if you're running it, where you run to play action, get the linebackers to move in, throw over the top to Tyreek Hill. As you see, they're going to run to play action. The corner knows it's coming, because of course you know it's coming, but it doesn't matter because Tyreek Hill is just so fast he can get there before you can. As you see, Nate Hobbs even does a pretty good job of defending that. He he makes it a contested catch, but Tyreek Hill really underrated at contested catches. He never gets enough credit for that aspect of his game. That's good defense. I actually look at that and say, wow, Nate Hobbs doing some nice stuff there. He's an underrated player for the Raiders, but really good play on that one, but also doesn't matter. The Dolphins offense, you're just so good. Good offense can beat good defense, and it did right there. And also something like this, I feel like I bring something like this up every single Tua video, and I'm going to keep doing it because it's so amazing. It's so incredible how they do this, where, again, on paper, simple play. Tyreek Hill trying to get into a gap in coverage, okay, let's look in his direction. Simple enough. However, when this play begins, you see Tua, look at right now. Tua is throwing the football. Tyreek Hill hasn't even turned. Tua is getting the ball out of his hands. And I can't help but every time I see this, think of Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Fitzpatrick was the king of throwing the football before his receiver had started to move because he kind of had to. Fitzpatrick didn't have the arm really to make it work in the NFL and, get the ball down the field without doing that. Now, Fitzpatrick would basically take every single gamble. Tua does not, but he reads the play so well that he can kind of get the positives that Fitzpatrick would get with very few of the negatives that Fitzpatrick would get. As you see, Tua does put that one right on the money to Hill, who does, okay work in open space. That's fine. Yeah, sure, get a touchdown, I suppose. 7 points is cool. No, I mean, Tyreek Hill's amazing, right? What he can do is fantastic, but it was set up due to the great anticipation of Tua. Also heading over here, so this is going to be, again, another kind of classic Dolphins play, right? But I love how quick they do this stuff sometimes, too. It's Jalen Waddle now, the guy they're trying to hit, and it's not fair to get both Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. They shouldn't get both of those guys, right? That's cheating a little bit. But it's going to be, again, play action, get linebackers out of position, throw to Jalen Waddle over the middle. Watch when this play begins. It's not even like terrible defense, I don't think, but, for Tua, just understand where the defenders are and throw around them. Watch as Tua, kind of off balance, don't know if he had to be off balance, but still is able to make an accurate throw to Jalen Waddle, who again accelerates upfield. They just got like an explosive on that play. Like that was an explosive play. They gained more than 15 yards on that play when it was a 3rd down and 2 when it was seemingly just designed to get you a few yards. But when they try to design a play to get them a few yards, they're so talented, they still pick up an explosive play on that one. That's how good this offense can be. So really, it does feel like for Miami so far this year, their offense has always worked except when they've beaten themselves. No one's beaten the Dolphins offense, it feels like. They've beaten themselves, and even in that Chiefs game, it felt like they beat themselves a lot in that one. You got to cut down on the turnovers because if you don't turn the ball over, this offense is so lethal that it is going to consistently move the ball down the field and get the ball into the end zone consistently, although again, in this game, maybe not as many touchdowns as you would have liked, too many field goal opportunities potentially for an offense that's debatably the best in football, certainly up there. So for Miami, there's some issues, there's some things to have to work on, and again, some injuries as Devon Achane got banged up again, which sucks. It seems like, from what I understand, I think people are saying maybe it's not too serious, so that would be good. But still, concerning. How healthy is he? Jalen Ramsey got banged up. I know he looked okay coming out the field, but how healthy is he? But as a whole, a lot of good stuff here by the Miami Dolphins. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.